captivity, nightmares, bitch.
A yelp pierces the silence, and I'm jolted awake. The nightmare clings to me, fangs sinking deep, blood chilling in my veins, even as it spills warm over spectral hands. My heart hammers against my ribcage, a frantic drumbeat in the oppressive quiet of the cathedral's underbelly. The Washington National Cathedral, once a beacon of faith, now looms as a mausoleum of power for those who've claimed the night as their empire. Its grandiose arches are nothing but hollow bones in this new era of darkness. I shiver, not just from the cold that seems to rise from the ancient stone floor, but from the void that has become my world. I wrap my arms around myself, feeling the press of cold metal against my wrists. Shackles that aren't there, save for in memories that flit too close to the surface. The air is damp, heavy with the scent of mildew and the iron tang of fear that never dissipates from this place. Shadows cling to the corners like cobwebs, an extension of the dark that the fangers so adore. My cell is more tomb than room, a Spartan space furnished with only the necessities, a bed that offers no comfort, a small desk, and surprisingly a laptop computer, complete with high-speed internet connection, a tool, and a tether. The screen casts a pallid glow, a ghost that watches me with an unblinking eye. It's here that I write, weaving words into narratives that twist the truth just enough to satisfy them while leaving breadcrumbs for those who dare to question. My posting platform is FaceFang, that corruption of what we humans used to chat with grandma and watch cat videos. They love it just as much as we did. Of course, we have known about their fascination with social media for a long time now. It was clear since before the attack. How do I know? The Wraith, remember? Besides the small number of troops that fell under my command, I had a whole cadre of hackers at my disposal. Hacktivists? They were hell against pedophile and rape websites on the darknet back in the day. So you can imagine how they have used the Fangers' obsession with our technical toys against them. My hacktivists have even been able to breach the DC closed-circuit television cameras several times. Yeah, they catch them eventually and block the feed, but my guys just get right back in. My hacktivists have never been breached either. It seems the Fangers suck at backhacking, and they have never even caught the monitoring feed on FaceFang, which is excellent because my coded messages are right out in the open for everyone to see. And bonus, they look like they are coming straight from El Supremo Pilates himself. Yeah, the Fangers. They like the tech, but they are not very good at securing it. At least not yet. I must admit that Pilates is not only a devious fuck, but he's also brilliantly smart. He makes the previous human government look like swimmers in the kiddie pool when it comes to using vampire social media for surveillance and the spread of propaganda among his fangers. It's like the treatises and stories that he has me write, all centered on the brave, generous, and in my opinion vainglorious blood monarch, who, of course, is Pilatus himself. My fingers dance across the keyboard, the clacking keys a staccato rhythm, jiving with the distant murmurs and tapping marching boot steps in the stone hall. Night sentinels, the Fangers call them, but they're elite troops, much like Nazi Sturmtruppen, protecting the emperor and the court, and of course they are my jailers. And worse still, they are enforcers of the silence suffocating us all, Fangers and humans alike. Since my incarceration here, I realize everyone is terrified of them, even the Fangers here at court, and they are the privileged few. Their voices, when they rise and fall through the stone corridors, are reminders that there is a world outside these stone walls, a world I fight to keep alive and to free from my place inside. Each day bleeds into the next, undisturbed save for the artificial twilight that my captors generously bestow. The musty air fills my lungs, and I taste the dust of centuries, of prayers and pleas that people have long since abandoned. I capture every sensation, the chill that seeps into my bones, the rough texture of the stone beneath my fingertips, the faint flicker of desperation that fuels my resolve. This defiance is my rebellion, my silent war waged in the shadows. With each word I type, each sentence I craft, I hold on to the sliver of self that refuses to be extinguished. They may have ensnared my body in this desolate place, but my spirit, my will remains untamed. I am still me, still sage steel, still the wraith. I pause, my gaze drifting toward the door that seals me in this stone cage. Beyond it lies uncertainty, a future shrouded in darkness and threaded with peril. And yet, hope flickers, a flame persisting amidst the tempest, fed by sheer willpower alone. With a sigh that tastes of regret, I turn back to my work, to the stories that are both my weapon and my solace. For now, they are enough. But as the screen's glow fades, and I am left once again in the dimness, I know that my fate has a shelf life. How much longer can I cling to the line between compliance and resistance before it snaps, leaving me to fall into the abyss? The heavy click of the lock announces his presence before I see him. The door swings open with a creak that's become all too familiar, and in strides Praetor Pilatus, his cold, piercing gaze locking on mine.
Miss Steele,
He begins. His voice, always so polite, is smooth as the silk lining of his dark tailored coat.
your latest piece, it was quite moving. It received much engagement.
Thank you, Praetor. I reply, my tone even, betraying none of the turmoil brewing within. His praise is a double-edged sword, and I handle it with care. He saunters closer, his eyes never leaving my face. There's an elegance to his movements that belies the predator beneath, a grace that's unsettling in its precision.
However,
He continues, leaning against the stone wall with deceptive casualness.
I believe we could further illuminate the nobility of our perhaps a touch more grandeur in your descriptions.
His suggestion hangs between us, a veiled command wrapped in velvet. I meet his gaze, my own unflinching. Of course, I concede with a careful nod. The vampire's resilience is indeed a tale worth telling. Pilatus smiles, but there's no warmth in it. It's the smile of a chess player who believes they've just cornered their opponent's king.
Indeed,
He muses, circling behind my chair as if he were a shark who, after scenting blood in the water, has taken his position below his prey, readying himself to breach the water with his prey clenched tightly in his jaws.
but let's not forget their sacrifices.
He whispers in my ear, and though I fight to hide it, my body stiffens, paralyzed in fear.
Their eternal struggle against misunderstanding and prejudice. You do understand, don't you?
His whisper continues, and I feel the coolness of his lips lightly brush the lobe of my ear. Perfectly, I assure him, my stomach flipping in disgust, though at the same time my mind races, searching for the line between appeasement and truth. To write their fictionalized history as they demand is to deny the blood spilled, the freedoms crushed underfoot. Yet, to challenge them openly is to invite destruction.
Good.
His approval feels like a coffin shroud settling over me.
I look forward to your next submission.
May I ask? I venture cautiously, seizing the moment to glean some shred of insight. About your past, Prater? For authenticity's sake, you see. All fiction writers research historic events, even if they don't use the event in their writing. It helps to give them an understanding of the experience, and it lends depth to the narrative. You could be my search engine into vampire history instead of me just making it up out of sackcloth and ashes. He moves to the side, and I turn my head just enough to meet his icy blue eyes. It's like looking into the eyes of a reptile, cold, unfeeling, and deadly. Pilatus pauses, his eyes narrowing subtly. He echoes, a flicker of something, amusement or suspicion, crossing his cold features.
A curious request. But why not? Knowledge, after all, is power. But an investment in knowledge pays the best interest.
Exactly. I breathe, relieved, yet wary. This is a dance on a knife's edge, and one misstep could prove fatal.
Very well.
He agrees, straightening to his full, imposing height.
Next time, Miss Steele, we shall delve into my history together.
Next time, I echo as he turns on his heel and strides out, the heavy door closing with a definitive thud behind him. Alone once more, I'm left to ponder the enigma that is Pilatus, each visit peeling back another layer of the intricate tapestry of lies and truths. What secrets lie in the shadows of his past, and what price will I pay to uncover them? I shiver, not from the chill of the cell, but from the realization that my defiance, as much as my writing, has drawn the attention of the monster at the heart of this dark empire. With every word I write, I weave my destiny tighter around me, a garment of resistance that may yet be my undoing. As the silence of the cell presses in around me, I can't shake the feeling that something pivotal looms on the horizon, something that could shatter my fragile balance between capitulation and rebellion. With a sense of foreboding, I stare at the door, wondering what darkness the next visit will bring. And as the cathedral's shadows lengthen, I am left with the echoing click of the lock to my jail cell and the haunting question: how much longer until the darkness claims me completely? As Pilatus's silhouette recedes into the gloom, his departure as silent and unnerving as a ghost vanishing at daybreak. The echo of his soft footsteps fade, replaced by the heavy clank of another set of boots. His heavy boots always alert me to his approach, as if sounding a warning and giving me time to collect myself. Deliberate action might merit gratitude, though I suspect simple dullness is the cause. Victor enters, his presence an unspoken reminder of the vampire's omnipotence within these hallowed walls. He surveys me with those inscrutable eyes, a statue carved from the same cold stone that encases my world. I am not sure what he is looking for, and I can't decipher his thoughts. No flicker of emotion betrays whether he's friend or foe, mere jailer or silent ally. For a heartbeat, we share this cryptic communion before he, too, departs, the reverberating slam of the door sealing my solitude. I sink onto the sparse bed, the mattress hardly yielding beneath my weight. The chill from the stone floor seeps through my thin-soled shoes, wrapping around my bones like the fingers of a long-forgotten lover, intimate but unwelcome. A shudder courses through me, not only from Pilatus's thinly veiled threats, but from the burgeoning realization of how precariously I teeter on the knife edge of survival. I would never have volunteered for such a post, but even I had to admit that my capture was beneficial to the resistance in many ways. Pilatus wanted me because he had used my writing as a false reality in his worldwide conquest. He didn't even realize the amount of damage that he had done to the U.S. resistance. And he probably wouldn't care if he knew. He never saw us as much of a threat to begin with. He just wanted the writer that had been his inspiration for the recorder of their history. He was at heart a fan. A fucking terrifying, ultra-dangerous, psychotic fan. But a fan, nonetheless. The question was, what could I do to use that to help the humans beyond what I had been able to feed them? I stood and paced my sparse cell, rubbing my face in thought. In the oppressive silence that followed, my mind raced. Each word I craft in my forced labor is a word of deceit, yet it's also a strand in my web of resistance. I have been able to send information to the resistance about the resources here and what I overhear about issues in other parts of the empire. Can I continue to toe this perilous line, to paint their world in strokes of truth laced with defiance? I look through the barred portal of my cell door. A bitter taste coats my tongue, a taste I am too familiar with, the tang of iron and fear. My own pulse throbs in my ears, a harsh rhythm that sounds too much like a countdown. Every second in this cathedral-turned prison, every breath drawn in the shadow of the night sentinels, brings me closer to the cliff's edge from which one day I may topple. The dim light in the stone hall casts monstrous shadows across the walls, devilish figures that dance in a ghoulish display. They're omens, perhaps, or simply the product of a mind fraying at the edges. My fingers curl into fists, nails biting into palms, a futile attempt to anchor myself with pain to the reality of my cell, rather than the terrors that lurk in my imagination. Will I become one of your tragic heroes, Pilatus? I whisper into the void, my voice a hollow sound amidst the cathedral's vastness. Or am I destined to be a footnote in your grand narrative of revisionist history? No answer comes. Only the faintest drip of water somewhere in the distance. A metronome marking the passage of time in a place where dawn never breaks. I pace the confines of my cage once more, each step a silent rebellion against the inertia that threatens to consume me. I stop once more at the windowless aperture of the door that serves as my only visual portal to the world beyond. Here, I press my forehead against the icy stone of the wall in which the door is set. I close my eyes against the darkness that seeks to engulf me. The question of my resistance hangs suspended in the air, as tangible as the bars that cage me. In the stillness, a resolve solidifies within my chest, hard and unyielding. I will write their stories, yes, but in my own words, with my own truths woven between the lines. Someday, if fortune truly favors the bold, my tales will be the undoing of their empire. The same words that once carved its bloody foundation. And with that thought, I moved away from the barred opening, retreating into the shadows of my cell, knowing that my existence teeters on the brink of revelation or ruin. For now, I still know who I am. I am Sage Steele, author, rebel leader, and captive standing alone against the Emperor of Nightmares. But tomorrow, and the tomorrow after that, even a wretch like me knows that as long as my heart beats, the future will always remain unwritten.
This story is still unfolding, so subscribe and follow the pulse of the night. New chapters rise soon, and those who are bound to this channel will hear them the moment they awaken.